afternoon and salam. I am Miriam Afolabi, a member of the MACFEST team. Welcome to MACFEST 2022. This afternoon, we are thrilled to begin our Ramadan festival, where we'll be taking you to 2 countries to celebrate the Ramadan culture and how people break their fasts in their various countries. And we'll end with an Eid event from Dubai and Indonesia. Today, we are taking you to Algeria in North Africa with Celia Ait Mechedal, who is a civil engineer and a content creator on social media. Before I hand over to Celia, our host for today, I'm delighted to welcome our chief guest for this event, Dr. Mohammed Ali, who is a director of QED and also an advisor to MACFEST. Before I hand over to Dr. Ali, I would like to request our audience to please follow MACFEST on our social media and spread news about the festival using the hashtag #SpreadHoneyNotHate. As most of our events are free, we dearly welcome donations. Thank you, and over to you, Dr. Ali.
Assalamu alaikum and Ramzan Mubarak to everybody. I hope you are all enjoying this blessed holy month of Ramadan as much as I am. And as Mariam said, this is the first event of Ramadan, and hopefully there will be more in this month. On behalf of Kesra Shiraz, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all. Kesra is synonymous with MACFEST. She is the driving force behind this campaign and has won many well-deserved accolades for her work. Most recent honor she got is the being made member of the British Empire by Her Majesty the Queen. MACFEST stands for Muslim Arts and Cultural Festival, and I'm privileged to have been supporting it right from the beginning 4 years ago. And I'm very pleased to see that it is going from strength to strength. MACFEST tackles head-on the inaccurate perception of Islam and Muslims, especially in the UK and Europe. This perception has been mainly come about as a result of inaccurate media news stories about Muslims since 9/11. Research by a leading university has found that for every one positive story about Muslims in the British media, there are 21 negative ones. So you can see that the scale of challenges facing us to narrow and ideally bridge this perception-reality gap about Islam and Muslims is huge. I believe that MACFEST activities also underpin 4 interlinked principles. I would call these the 4 Ps: peace, love, perception, peace, progress, prosperity, and pyar. Pyar is an Urdu word for love. Peace is one of the core values of Islam. Every time we meet each other, we say salam, which means peace. So how can non-Muslims say that Islam stands for terror and violence? MACFEST supports progress and prosperity for all, irrespective of their faith and ethnicity. As we all know, Islam puts great emphasis and importance on our relationship with each other. And as Muslims, our relationship is with all communities. It is based on what we all have in common, our common humanity. We are all human beings created by one God, or Allah. Poverty and disadvantage are key barriers to progress and prosperity. Unfortunately, they affect Muslim communities disproportionately wherever they live in the world. That's why MACFEST supports and works with organizations like mine, QED Foundation. We have been addressing poor educational achievement, high unemployment, underemployment, and poor health amongst mainly Muslim minorities in the UK for over 30 years. You can Google QED Foundation and find out more about our charity. Share pyar, not hate. Spread honey, as Mariam said. So sharing love, not hate is a slogan used by Kesra in all our work. An excellent motto, and I would like her to keep it up. MACFEST MACFEST also offers something quite unique. It brings together diverse Muslim communities from all over the world. We seldom get the chance to meet and learn from each other or about each other. As Muslims, we all share common faith, Islam, but we also have our foods, music, arts, and cultural heritage. That's what makes us unique. This special Iftari celebration with our brothers and sisters from Algeria is a good example of bringing communities together to share these, albeit virtually. I hope that one day, inshallah, we may be able to do this face to face. In fact, some of my favorite dishes include couscous for Marks and Spencer for my lunch and homemade shakshuka for breakfast. So visiting Algeria is on my list of countries to visit one day, inshallah. I enjoy these dishes in authentic settings. And I'm really looking forward to what promises to be a memorable afternoon. So thank you very much for listening to me. And over to Celia.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali, for your kind and stimulating words. We really appreciate your support. So now we can begin the event, and please, Celia, will start the event for us.
Yes. So hello, everyone. I welcome each and everyone here. This is Celia Ait Mechedal from Algeria. I'm a Berber, a Kabyle Berber from North Africa. I will be so glad to make you travel with me to my native culture here in North Africa. I really hope that you will enjoy it. And Ramadan Mubarak to everyone.
Let me take you back in time. And when I say back in time, I'm not talking about thousands of years ago, not even 2,000 of years ago, but I'm talking about hundreds of thousands years ago. That's so old, huh? Yes, and that is in North Africa. The native inhabitants of North Africa are called Imazighen, and the land is called Thamzra, and they speak Thamazigh. Thamzra starts from Siwa in east of Egypt till the Canary Islands in the west, and from the Mediterranean Sea from the north till Mauritania in the south. The Amazigh, or the Berber people, are considered as one of the most ancient and old populations of the world. Yes, check this out.
This marks the first discovery of such fossils in North Africa. Teeth of 5 individuals who lived about 300 and 1,500,000 years ago.
There is one issue, which is the timing and the place. So the timing is much older than we thought. It's not 200,000, it's probably more than 300,000.
Amazing, huh? And guess what? There's one more thing. The Amazigh people have their own calendar. Yes, they do. And it's on the first day of Yenair, which corresponds to January 13. There's a difference of 951 years between the Julian calendar and the Amazigh calendar. Okay, so let's make this thing clear. If the people who celebrate their new year in this year, in 2022, the Amazigh people will celebrate their 2,972 year in the 13th of January. Nowadays, it's true that the Amazigh or the Berber population are separated since North Africa is no longer one country. But everything that relates to Imazighen and Thamazigh is still the same till today.
Let's talk now about the cultural Berber. The most important thing that characterizes the Berber communities is union and solidarity, inside and outside the house, with sharing many tasks, like cooking, cleaning, building, getting wood for the heat, and etc. Well, since 3 or even 4 families can live under the same roof, you can find the grandparents, their children, their grandchildren, and they all live in villages. And each village is ruled by one chief, who's been chosen under some strict criteria as being wise, honest, fair, and smart. Of course, with the help of some other men of the same village. They play a big role in solving different problems of people, especially economic ones. So this is in general the cultural Berber mindset. It's all about union and solidarity. Everyone helps everyone. No one is an island, like literally. And we have other festivals, other activities that shows this union and solidarity. For example, we have an event that happens once a year called Thimshot or Thiwiza, Teluzia, beg your pardon. And in general, all the people get together, have a beef, or maybe more than beef. It depends on how much the population of the village. And all the men help each other like that. And then all the meat will be distributed to all the inhabitants of the village. That way, they will make sure that everyone will have meat. Since, you know, that back then people could not afford that much food and that much meat. So this was a way for them to provide meat for everyone. And we have another activity. It's called Thiwiza. What happens in general is that if someone needs to build his house, well, everyone will help him to build a house. If someone is getting married, the same thing will happen. So everyone will be involved. And like I said, everyone helps everyone. Now let's jump to the Kabyle weddings. And they're just amazing. It starts by the family of the groom going together to bring the bride from her father's house, where the bride should go out under her father's benediction, just by going out under his arm, like under his wings. And yes, women sing all the way, and generally with a tambourine. The bride goes on foot or riding a horse. And yes, because back then they used to get married with the closest families from the same village or the nearest one. And when she arrives, they make her drink some milk 7 times, and they throw candies at her. And then little children go and pack them up. And there are some villages where brides should smash an egg in the front door wall in general. Right after, the mother-in-law or sister-in-law puts on henna on her hand in the day before the wedding or in the same day. And then the party starts. They sing all day long, they dance as well. This singing is called Uber al-Khalaf, where women start to sing all at the same time with a tambourine. And generally the bride is covered, whether with the theme hirims or her father's burnous. Exactly. And now let's jump to the Kabyle art. Berber women are known for making carpets with wool extracted mainly from martens. And generally it is made by a group of women because it's not that easy to deal with individually during the snowy winter or the long days of summer. For pottery, well, beside the wool carpets, pottery is considered as a very important activity that is also practiced by women. For 100 years, the Kabyle people used only kitchen equipment made of clay. We can notice the different colors and decorations on the tools, and it seems that every color and every sign have a meaning that refers to nature that surrounds the population. And all the graphics, like I said, they all have a meaning. And there are women who have them as tattoos on their face, their hands, their neck, legs. Le Bernous in French and Avarnous in Kabyle language means a cloth destined only for men to be protected from cold during wintertime. It is also made of wool in both colors, white and brown. It is a symbol of virility and strength. As for the jewelries, well, silver and coral represent the main constituents of a Kabyle jewelry, which are handmade by man. All of these shapes and colors of silver jewelry add a unique and attractive appearance to the Kabyle woman.
وفي ضروري قاع وفي ضروري قاعلة يفكي اختيلو فاني زها يفكي اختيلو فاني زهالة أفكي غيك سبعة والراشي ونادي فا ذا المعنى يا لا 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 في غرافينا ثلاوين ميد غفثش ما تستشور ميد غفثش ما تستشور ورستوقفني لذور ورستوقفني لذور أفكي غك سبعة والراشي ونادي فا سمس مشهور يا لا 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 تغرى فينا ثلوين.
This is my little sister. She was singing a lullaby, a traditional lullaby that women used to sing to their children when they go to sleep. And in general, for the Kabyle singing, we have Ashwiq and Urer. Ashwiq, it's a sort of poetry. And women used to tell stories that way. And the Urer, like we've seen in the Kabyle wedding, they all start to sing together so it's just great.
Azul everyone, this is Ait Mechedal Celia from Algeria. Let me show you the Algerian Kabyle, especially Ramadan table. Let's go. First of all, when it's Adhan of Maghrib, we break fast with some dates. Then, right after, a lot of people go to pray. Then when they come back, this starter is with a soup. And this is shorba frik that we have generally. Or another type of shorba, it is the shorba mqatfa, shorba vermicelle. This one is made with barley, and this one is made with pasta. We generally eat it with some burek. This is burek. It's made with brick sheets. We add inside some potato and cheese or some meat. It's by choice. Or with bread. We have the barley bread. It's a homemade bread with barley. Or sumulina. We have another type of bread also, agroma qoran. This is, we call it thamthunt. And this is agroma qoran. It generally goes with some chili. We add some tomato and olive oil, of course. After the starter, we jump to the main dish, which is generally tagines. So this one is tagine zitoun, made with some chicken, or we can prepare it with meat. And this one is the Algerian most favorite tagine. We have also dolma. We call it dolma. It's made with meat. Well, red meat or a white one. I made it with chicken, potato, and courgettes, with some chickpeas also. And this one is the Ramadan specialty. It's called tajin al-hlu or lahm al-hlu. We cook it with meat and we add dried fruits, mainly with prunes and grapes. But also we can add other fruits like apricots, or we can add dried kiwi, as we like. Some juice, of course, or sherbet. In general, it's made with oranges or lemon. We have the salad. We call it green salad, with some eggs, olives, tomato. This is now, but back then, actually for the typical Berber, the typical Kabyle menu for Ramadan wasn't that much. Because as you know, during the French colonization, people used to live in poverty because of the French colonizer and because of the French policy. But in spite of that, they continue to fast. So they broke their fast with only some thihbulin or sfinge or lakhfaf with a glass of milk that they had generally from their cows or their goats, or some simsiminin. The main dish was restricted only with the local couscous. This one is with barley, and this one is with semolina. But actually, not all the families could have the semolina one. Sometimes they add some grasps, not all the time. And sometimes also they could allow themselves to have some tajins made with only vegetables, like the vegetables they could afford from their own garden. We have mainly with potato, carrots, and sometimes courgettes, and sometimes without even meat. So it was that much only. For the suksu, they have it also for sahur time. And we can add the chili and the aroma Quran, the chili one, the hot one, or the sweet one, with some yogurt. This is in general the Algerian Kabyle dish for Ramadan. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much that you allowed me to share this with you. Ramadan مربوح inshallah. See you.
I'm back again. So I forgot to mention that tajin hello is sweet, so it's like a sweet meat. And now, alhamdulillah, people can afford that much on their Ramadan table. But back then, the Kabyle population was suffering a lot from poverty, especially because of the French colonizer. They really suffered, and they couldn't afford a lot. So, but even that, they fasted all Ramadan. They had Eid, and everything went just perfect, even though they couldn't afford a big, large table for their Ramadan iftar. And couscous is the local dish of all North Africa, not only Algeria. And they had it with some grasps, or they could eat it just like that. Ramadan Kareem for everyone. Yes, exactly. And I just talked briefly about everything. I couldn't mention literally all the culture. So it's really, really, there's a lot to say, actually. And each topic, we can dive in it. Inshallah, I will be able to talk about each and every detail soon. And thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate that I opened this festival. And I hope that I could make a lot of you travel to Algeria. And inshallah, I could make everyone happy.
Can I ask a question, Celia?
Of course.
Yes. For example, what's the main difference between the Ramadan practices nowadays in the modern world compared with, say, in your grandmother's days? What were the traditions then? And the key things, how you already showed us the food, explained about that. Just tell us a bit more about the differences.
Okay, for the differences, now it's a little bit, or I can say it's more modern. And back then, people could not have many gear or many, how can I say? They had to do everything with their bare hands. So they were really busy all day long. And they used to fast, yes, and have their prayer, but not like today. They couldn't have Ramadan evenings, Ramadan for the Ramadan Eve. But what they had is only the family gathering, and they had the table, the Ramadan table all together, and that's it. In general, back then, it wasn't really that. It wasn't really that. I lost my words. It wasn't really. They didn't have that much, and like I said, they were living in a miserable conditions. But in spite of that, they fast, they pray, and in general, this is it. And nowadays in Algeria, not only for the Kabyle population, but we enjoy the cooking. Like for us women, we go to the kitchen and really have fun preparing for Ramadan table. And we enjoy having new recipes. We enjoy bringing all the traditional food, but not back then, unfortunately.
Okay, any questions, anyone? We have time if anybody wants to ask any question or make comment. We've got a lovely chat. Let's have a look. People have said lots of wonderful things. Amina said, I really appreciate the way you did represent your culture and custom that you very much like, of course. Barbara says, lovely, tasty presentation. My goodness, for the eyes and the stomach, such a rich culture. Nasia says, great presentation, lots of information. Thank you. So if anybody wants to ask any more question or comment, please feel free. I found it absolutely amazing. So I'm going to hand back to now Mariam to round off. And thank you guys for joining us. But over to you, Mariam.
Yes, thank you very much, Celia, for providing us that wonderful feast of celebrating Ramadan in Algeria. It has been like very amazing to just see how like it's so different in different countries, like different parts of the continent. And also thank you for preparing the food for us freshly and for providing that visual feed, like seeing the different cuisines, the different side dishes that you could have for your iftar. And a special thanks to your mom as well for helping you in like doing all the videographing as well. Please
I send her much kisses. Thank
yes,
you.
give us
yes.
good wishes. And to our audience that joined us today, thank you for joining us and spending your time with us. And we are very glad that you've enjoyed today's Ramadan festival. So just join us again at this time next week, Sunday. We'll be taking you to Pakistan, where we'll be having another Ramadan feast and also like more for you to see about how Pakistanis celebrate their Ramadan and also their cultural heritage. So thank you and Assalamu alaikum.